Next presentation, our final speakers of the day, two presenters from our last company at the Small Cap Conference. We are bringing in Marcel Konrad, the CFO, and Ken D'Entremont, the CEO and director of
Medexus Pharmaceuticals.
There it is, and my notes were missing. And that's it, Medexus Pharmaceuticals. Guys, thank you for filling in there. Excited to have you both with us. Thank you for being here. If we can get the presentation up, I'm going to let you gentlemen take it away and go back and forth and run us through this. Awesome.
Okay, perfect. So this is a little different from the last two presentations that at least I heard. This is a healthcare business, obviously a business that's hot of late. We focus in rare disease, orphan drug, with a strong commercial presence. Our forward-looking statements can be found on medexus.com, along with a whole lot of other information, including this presentation, if you'd like to see something. So in summary, the business that we're talking about today is a commercially focused specialty pharma company, current net revenue of about $80 million, produces positive EBITDA and cash, about 16 products in the portfolio to date, and poised for significant growth going forward. Over the last 3 years that the company has been around, we've gone from about 10 million net revenue to now 80 million net revenue, and we think we have a lot of growth in front of us due to the portfolio that we already have assembled. I'm going to spend a little bit of time just talking about our business strategy. You know, as I mentioned a couple times already, we're very much a commercial organization, so we don't do any R&D. We're looking for products that others, either biotech company or pharma companies outside of North America, have already developed, and we will license them, use our own commercial infrastructure to grow those to peak sales in the US and Canada. So organic growth is really important to us. We are looking to get products registered, launched, and then grow them to peak sales. So we've got strong organic growth within our portfolio. And the way that we acquire these products is through business development, whether that be M&A or licensing. This brings products into our portfolio that we can then leverage with our own infrastructure and grow to peak sales. If you do look at our financials, you will see there is an R&D line. It's not true in R&D. It's really product development. We spend some money on improving the label for various products. And so there is a small spend in product development. This is really what we use to sell ourselves to potential partners and convince them to license us their drugs. It's the infrastructure that's in place. So we have a fully built out team, both US and Canada, which can handle more products and has a very successful track record of launching and growing products. So that is really the benefit that we provide to our various partners. Currently, we have about 75% of our revenue coming out of the US. That's probably going to go to more like 90% as we've got a couple of really special products coming in our pipeline that will drive revenue sharply in the US. And I'm going to talk to those in a couple of slides. This is the portfolio that we have. A couple of points to be made here. One is that we have a broad portfolio. There's about 16 products currently in our portfolio. A lot of that portfolio is continuing to grow. It's very much in its growth phase. Rasuvo, Metoject, Toxicity, Rupall, those four products make up about 80% of our revenue. And three of the four continue to grow strongly. The fourth, Rasuvo, is flat. It's a mature product, holds about an 80% market share in the market where it participates. And then we have a whole bunch of other products that are really in the launch phase, or we will launch in the near future. So these are opportunities to continue to grow net revenue for our company. One of the most important drugs in our portfolio is a product called Toxicity. It's for hemophilia B. That is a rare disease. There's only 4,000 to 5,000 people in the US with hemophilia B. Basically, what we do is supply the factor that's missing for their blood. So with our drug, they can lead totally normal lives, but they are dependent on that drug in order to be active and safe. So this is a really important drug. We like this type of a product because it's a very focused call point. we don't need a huge sales force in order to drive this product forward. There are only 140 hemophilia treatment centers in all of the U.S., so all of the patients get funneled into those centers, and those are the centers on which we call. And so we don't need a big sales force in order to address what is quite a large market. IXINITY does about $30 million net revenue and growing, but we still only have a 4% market share. So obviously it's a very big market. There's a lot of opportunity for us to grow, and our sales force is working towards making that happen. Another one of the most important products in our portfolio is something called Rupall. Rupall is a prescription antihistamine in Canada, growing at a very dramatic rate, about 44% after launch, 5 years after launch. The funny kind of growth curve you see is related to the seasonality of allergies. Obviously, they peak in the spring, summer, and fall, and then they wane during the winter months. And so we're seeing continued strong growth from Rupall. Then we have several other products that are making a very significant contribution. Rasuvo in the U.S. is a single-dose auto-injector for the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis. It holds about a 79% market share in the auto-injector of methotrexate market. So we have a dominant share in that area, and we are working to protect that share. Metoject is basically the same product in Canada, simply a different brand name. That product has about a 38% market share and growing. So we expect that product to continue to grow strongly. We also have a product called Gleolan. It's for the fluorescence of glioblastoma tumors, basically the most common type of cancerous brain tumor. What this product does is allow the neurosurgeon to better visualize the cancerous cells. And so it's easier to do the resection of the tumor, and that leads to a better overall survival. So we have a nice portfolio of drugs that we think will continue to grow into the future. But we also have products in our portfolio that we're planning for launch. And one of the most significant ones is a product called treosulfan, both US and Canada. Treosulfan is a conditioning agent to be used prior to stem cell transplantation. Basically, that's a way to treat leukemia patients and other blood-borne diseases. It's an attractive way to treat those people because it could be curative. So if they respond properly, they could be free from leukemia, perhaps for the rest of their lives. So it's a very attractive way to treat those patients. Treosulfan is attractive to us because it is orphan drug and rare disease. It's focused in this particular therapeutic area. Because it's orphan drug, it has a 7.5-year exclusivity as a result of that legislation. It has a very high peak revenue target, a competitive product in the space that we have demonstrated we're better than, hit $126 million net revenue at its peak before it was genericized. So we clearly think that treosulfan can deliver that sort of revenue number, if not something far beyond. So clearly, with treosulfan in our portfolio, we're going to more than double in size. So obviously, that's very significant growth, and we will see improvement in gross margin as treosulfan cost of goods is actually quite low. So this will actually show some margin improvement. This is where treosulfan fits, and I won't go into the science of all this, but basically there's two strategies in conditioning these patients. One is very strong and toxic, and it works extremely well, but the problem is a lot of people can't tolerate it. The other strategy is reduced intensity, which doesn't make people as sick when they're taking this therapy. So more people can tolerate it, but it doesn't work as well. So there is a chance of reoccurrence of the cancer. Treosulfan has the best aspects of both of those strategies. It's very strong, but it also is reduced toxicity. And as a result, more people can get this treatment. The slide on the left demonstrates, why we think this would be a very significant drug in the U.S. It's a head-to-head comparison against busulfan, the drug that it did $126 million net revenue. And we show a 26% improvement in overall survival. So it's a very dramatic improvement in survival for these leukemia patients. So, with that sort of data, we strongly believe that we will see very strong uptake of this drug within those clinics. We also have very good survival data in pediatrics, 91% overall survival in children. So a very attractive drug we think will be very well positioned in the marketplace and will get strong market uptake. This is a very focused therapeutic area. There's only 174 institutions in all of the US that do stem cell transplantation, and about 80% of them are done in 74 institutions. So again, a very well-defined target market, and another drug that will use the infrastructure that we already have in place. The good news for us is that about 41 of the institutions that we will be targeting already has experience with treosulfan, our drug. So we do expect to get a quick uptake. So this will allow us to continue on a very strong growth trajectory, consistent with what we've been doing historically. So I'm going to let Marcel Konrad, our CFO, walk you through some of the financial results.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Ken. So this is a great time to be at Medexus and join the company and actually look at the company a bit closer. So I joined 3-4 months ago. What really attracted me to this on the chart on the right-hand side is a very strong growing company that's tripling sales over the last 2 to 3 years. And that's something that we continue to pursue on a strong growth over the next few years. The first quarter here, we had a little bit of a soft quarter due to some a product that has had some channel challenges, so to speak, to match the channel to demand. We're expecting to increase revenue again in the following quarters. Obviously, incurred a loss. We launched or we're about to launch treosulfan in the US. That is now, as I mentioned, a bit postponed. So that's why we incurred a loss. The base business is profitable. So we're heading towards that path again until we launch treosulfan. On the cash side, we're still carrying $10 million of cash on our balance sheet. So we continue to operate comfortably on that level. And so this is just basically the capital structure we're looking at. It hasn't really changed the last few months. Where we added Roth Capital as our analyst coverage. We're gaining more traction here, and we're looking for more traction to tell the story. I think our story needs to be told. We have definitely a lot of interest that we will be covering our story more and more in the US, and want to make sure that people understand where we're at. As you see on the ownership side here, 12% on a fully diluted basis. Management has a huge amount of ownership in the company and is carrying the company forward. Yeah.
Thanks, Marcel. Management team, excellent team, highly capable of growing a much larger company, which clearly we expect to be in the near future. Board of directors, equally strong board of directors. A very active board of directors that's very helpful for management. So that's really the presentation. I think if you're looking for value drivers going forward, it's continued execution and growth of the current product portfolio and new product launches. The FDA approval of treosulfan and subsequent launch will be very, very important. You will be seeing some news about our progress with the FDA shortly. And then we will continue to be looking at new products, and we are always looking for additional products that will further leverage the infrastructure that we have in place. And so, if you look at Medexus, think about a very strong, commercial focused organization. So it's easy to understand. There's no development risk, and it's much easier to project the future revenues that produces already EBITDA and will produce very strong EBITDA as we go forward. So that's a story. You get a lot more information at medexus.com. And if we have time, we're happy to take any questions that anyone might have.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you both, speaking from Medexus. Let's go through a couple of questions here. I know you guys touched a little bit on just the growth drivers that you have, some of the things that are pushing you ahead, but we've gone through this with a couple of companies today, and I'd love to dig deeper with you as well. Talk to me a little bit more about the growth outwards. What are the specific things you're implementing to grow in Q4, 2022? What are you guys really hammering the ground hard on to actually grow the business?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the organic growth is really what we focus on day to day. I mean, the sales force that we have in place are calling on physicians, convincing physicians and patients to use our drugs more frequently. You know, products like Ixinity, Rupall, Medexus, these are all growing. And so our selling effort clearly works. I mean, we've taken these products from basically zero and growing them to current sales. So, you know, our sales and marketing expertise works. It's a matter of continuing to push the message and drive new prescriptions and new orders for our drugs. So that's clearly what we do. And then as we add more products on top of that, obviously the ratios get a lot better. A great example of that is Ixinity. When we acquired that February of last year, our sales and marketing percentage dropped from 65% to 45% of net revenue. So obviously we highly leveraged what we already had in place. And as a result of doing that, a lot of it drops to the bottom line. So, you know, our EBITDA and profit improved dramatically. So that is basically our business model. So as we add more products, those ratios just keep getting better.
Got it. Okay, let's take another kind of expansive approach here. Put yourself in the shoes of, you know, an average investor, retailer, individual looking at this company. What's most exciting that a retail investor or an individual should know when they're evaluating Medexus and looking at the future in front of you? What's something that should really be on the radar?
Yeah, they should look at this and say, okay, this is a company that already produces positive EBITDA from the base business, and they have very strong growth prospects. So, you know, you can see that we've gone from 10 to over $80 million net revenue in the last 4 years. And with a product like treosulfan, we're going to more than double. So obviously that's going to create an excellent return for shareholders, of which I'm one, a significant one. I'm the founder of Medexus as a private company. So I'm clearly focused on growing this business to a reasonable size.
Fantastic. Okay. And then let's talk about the technical side a little bit too. Anything coming up that we should know as far as trials, new developments, any announcements or anything? Obviously, only to the extent that you can speak on it. We know not everything can be public and you can't always talk about it before it's time, but anything on the development side that we should be looking for from the company in the next couple of months, maybe the next quarter or something like that?
Yeah, a couple of things. You know, clearly the progress with the FDA on treosulfan is really important. You know, so we've said publicly that we think approval is about 12 months away. There will be various steps along the way. So, you know, October of next year, we think we'll have an approval for treosulfan and we'll start to commercialize shortly thereafter. So that's going to be a really strong impetus for growth. The other most important growth driver organically is Ixinity. And, you know, that drug, we've been improving margins. We've been improving the channel since we acquired it last February. So that's going to produce a good return. And just the rest of the portfolio. I mean, remember, we've got 16 products, so the risk is spread out over a lot of products. There's no binary event here. It's a matter of us continuing to execute our business strategy, which historically you can see that we've done.
Oh, absolutely. No, the growth is apparent too. And the team, again, I love digging into the teams of the companies, especially the ones that we've had today, because as one of our presenters said, once again, I'll reference that the team is everything. The members of the company drive the organic growth forward. Talk to me a little bit about the team. We've got two of you here. How important is the team and how impactful are the members in creating the growth and the progress you guys are seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. The team is the company. So clearly without strong executives, it's very difficult to get growth. And so I think we've demonstrated that we've got very strong executives that have produced strong growth. The addition of Marcel, who's on the line today, was a really significant driver. And that, you know, Marcel's come from a company called CareDx that basically tripled all their financial parameters over the last few years, including a NASDAQ listing. And so, you know, we think that's where we're going. So having someone like him who could lead us through that, you know, improve our capital market strategy and our listing is really, really important.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure speaking with you both. We're drawing close to the end of our time here. Give me one thing that we can end on a note. How can investors interact with the company? Where can they learn more about you? Social channels, things like that. Where can they most accurately follow your progress?
Yeah, obviously, Medexus.com has got all the information, including this presentation. We're active on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the various social media. So get on our mailing list, get on our various media lists, and we'll ensure we keep everyone up to speed.
Outstanding. Marcel, Konrad, Ken, Don Tremont, both from Medexus Pharmaceuticals. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being our last speaker of the day at the Benzinga Small Cap Conference.
Thanks very much.